Yeah, you followed her. You went to Madison, Wisconsin, Minneapolis.
I have to look up the tour.
And you played
online.
You played Des Moines. I think it all fell apart in Des Moines.
Okay, it is June 2nd of 2024. This is Rock Hard Caucus episode 150. That's kind of a milestone, right, Evan?
That's a lot of episodes.
150, a nice big round number.
That's more than I thought there would be. So,
what were you betting on for the highest number of Rock Hard Caucus episodes?
Like 12.
12 is when it kind of started falling apart, right?
Yeah, pretty much, yeah.
Yeah, and here we are, 138 later.
Yeah. I thought it was just going to be you podcasting by yourself after like 10, you know?
Everyone's going to get bored of it except me, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so to celebrate this big milestone, we have a returning guest. Our friend Oliver Weilein is back off of a recent tour of the southern United States.
What's up?
How's it feel to be back in Iowa City?
Feels good, actually. It feels good to not be in psychotic heat.
Mm-hmm.
It was really bad while we were in Texas and New Orleans and stuff. But yeah, I don't know. It feels good to be home, but also sucks to be home. But yeah, I don't know.
Did you have a favorite place that you stopped on tour?
So many of them were so good for different reasons. I think one of my favorite places to play, just because the show was so crazy, was Houston, Texas. They have a really cool scene there with a lot of really good bands. And I also really liked New Orleans, just because the punks there are so psycho.
That's a place that I've never been. New Orleans seems like a very interesting place culturally.
It is. It's kind of a trip. Like, punks are bringing various objects to just destroy at the show and just destroying it during your set. And it's like the show starts at 10:30 p.m. and then the show ends at like 1 a.m. and then everybody's like, all right, where are we going? And I'm like, to fucking bed, guys. What the fuck?
They live their lives different schedule there. Yeah.
Yeah, it's fucked up.
Actually, yeah,
I saw an alligator.
Oh shit, that's cool. Like, was the alligator at the show or?
I wish. No, we had to go to a swamp.
Yeah. So Oliver played a show last night in Iowa City that I went to, and I heard you talking about how you tried to order a non-alcoholic drink at a bar in New Orleans and they wouldn't let you.
Yeah. So in New Orleans, there's I think they advertise themselves as the most alcoholic drink in New Orleans, and it's called the grenade or the hand grenade. And you have to go to this specific place for it, and they give it to you in this cup that is shaped like a grenade. And I just wanted the cup and to like walk around with it in downtown in the French Quarter.
Yeah, to blend in with the crowd.
To blend in, yeah. You know, so I didn't seem sus. And they were like, oh, sorry, they all come like pre-made. And I was like, all right, well, can I just like have juice in one or something? And they're like, no, sorry. I was like, can I just have the cup? And they're like, no, sorry. I'm like, what the fuck? Just give me the cup and I'll fill it up with water. One time, This wasn't last time, but one time I was in New Orleans and there was a bar with a mechanical bull that we walked by. And we were like, oh, hell yeah, we want to go ride the mechanical bull. But we tried to go in the bar and they're like, all right, let's see your IDs. And gave them our IDs. It's like, okay, you're all over 21. Okay, now it's free entry, but you all have to buy one drink. And I was like, all right, cool. Like, well, we don't drink alcohol, but I'll go up and buy like juice or something. And he was like, oh no, you can't do that. It has to be alcohol.
Yeah.
And I was like, what? Why? Let me ride the fucking bull, you idiot. But I don't know.
If you want to ride the bull, you have to be drunk.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The state gets kickbacks there for alcohol purchases.
Yeah,
They're actually the one state that encourages you to drink.
Right.
Yeah.
Well,
I mean, it's crazy down there. Like, you're walking and people are trying to get you to come into strip clubs.
Mm-hmm.
Like, they have people outside to like hype up the strip club and try to get you to go in. And they're just like, hey, you, I know you like big titties. We got some in there.
I can tell from the look on your face. You're starving for nudity.
But yeah, New Orleans, a trip. Very fun.
Yeah, I want to check it out. But yeah, it sounds like they're not super friendly to sober people.
No, they just don't understand it.
So I will be discriminated against if I go there.
Mm-hmm. I definitely was.
That'll be a fun experience. I'm not usually, I don't usually have to suffer in that way. People are usually pretty nice to me.
There's cool not drinking stuff to do in the area, like all the nature spots where you can go see gators and stuff.
Right, go look at it.
It's a really cool area. Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, we should probably talk a little bit about the news. There was a huge piece of news this week. I don't know if you guys have heard of Donald Trump, but he is going to prison or something now.
The TV star?
Yeah, so he was on trial for, I think, falsifying business records related to the hush money that he paid to Stormy Daniels, right? That's like what the actual crime was. Okay. Convicted on 34 counts. If people already know the facts of this, but what I thought would be fun for us to talk about is the weird responses to this news that everyone in any position of authority is having. Well, I guess before we do that, like, how do you feel about this, Evan, our former and future president being convicted of a few felonies?
Man, they talk a lot about white collar criminals. I think it's the first red, white, and blue collar criminal that we've ever had.
Oh, shit.
First former president.
Did you prepare that?
I don't know. I might have been thinking about it. But yeah, you hate to see them catch up a former president for hush money crimes as opposed to like the usual crimes that a president does during the course of their administration. So. It
that's
sucks.
Just the job.
Yeah, it sucks he got caught in a technicality and all that. That's my thoughts on it.
Yeah. And Oliver, is this like an important thing to you in your day-to-day life?
I just think it's funny when things happen to Donald Trump.
Yeah, for sure.
That's the extent of how I care about it. Do I think it's going to have an impact on anything regarding the election? No, I think it's going to go as if that didn't happen. But I think it's funny that he got convicted of 34 felonies.
Yeah.
I don't know. That's what I got to say about it. I think it's like the reporting around it was really funny. Like every millisecond in the courtroom was documented in that time. And like at one point, CNN reported like Trump took an object out of his pocket and put it in his mouth. And I was like, damn, it's cyanide time. Holy shit.
Like that, oh my God. That Serbian war criminal guy.
Like the Serbian war criminal guy. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. It was very funny. The day after the conviction, I was at the gas station and like they have all these newspapers and everyone, the front page is his face with like big guilty, big capital letters. That is very funny. But yeah, it's not probably moving anyone one way or another. Everybody feels the same about Donald Trump as they did, a few months ago.
I don't know. I think if he actually does go to prison, which is like, probably not going to happen. But if it does, I think it's going to break some people's brains and it might get pretty funny for a couple weeks. But I agree. It's probably not going to affect things too much.
That would certainly be the funniest outcome.
Yeah. If he runs for president from a prison cell and still wins, like, that's pretty fucking funny.
Yeah.
It is like 34 felony counts. I think the severest one is like maximum 20 years. So,
jeez.
I think if he wasn't Donald Trump, he probably would go to prison.
Right.
But
exactly. If it was not a former president.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's talk about how our elected officials here in Iowa have taken the news. Mostly not well. I'll say that. So here's our governor, Kim Reynolds. Most of these I got because Paul Brennan at Little Village kind of compiled these into a funny article. So credit to him for doing this before I did. But Kim Reynolds on Twitter, America saw this trial for what it was, a sham. For years, Democrats like Alvin Bragg have been trying to put President Trump in jail with complete disregard for our democracy and the will of the American people. The only verdict that matters is the one at the ballot box in November, where the American people will elect President Trump again.
Damn. It is like, it is really lame that he got caught up by one of the fucking chipmunks. Like, that's who you're gonna let arrest you? Like,
yeah. So Alvin Bragg is he's like the district attorney in Manhattan, right? I googled this yesterday.
Yeah, I think so.
You'd think like Dave would have something to say about this. He's got one of his little rascals running a court.
Yeah.
Dave, right? That was that guy's name, Dave?
I don't know. Yeah, I guess so. That sounds right.
Let me make sure his name was Dave.
To make sure we get the correct name for the guy from the fucking Chipmunks.
The guy from the Chipmunks was Dave Seville. All right.
Oh, Seville, huh?
But yeah, she's kind of right? That's basically what we were just saying, is that the only thing that matters is that he's going to win the election anyway.
Probably.
But also this idea that this criminal trial was happening with complete disregard for American democracy. Like, do we usually get to vote on this?
I know. That's what I was thinking too. I was like, it would be nice, man. I would love to vote on a lot of criminal trials, but it's a shame you don't usually get the option.
No, yeah. They just got a jury of 12 people, like usual. That's kind of a vote. That's kind of democracy.
Yeah, imagine if you could nullify a jury without even being on it. That'd be fucking awesome.
A conviction at this level requires a unanimous verdict from the entire voting population of the country.
Yeah.
That's a tough bar to clear.
That's gonna make it a pretty tough obstacle.
Moving on to Senator Joni Ernst. This was never about justice. It was always about politics. Americans see through Democrats' weaponization of our justice system and this sham trial as a desperate attempt to persecute Trump and block his re-election. There's sham again. 2 for 2 using the word sham.
I don't remember who it was, but one of these freaks was using the term like leftist prosecutor. And I just thought that was really funny. Like, oh, these leftist prosecutors are going around doing communism in the courtroom or something. It's just nonsensical.
Yeah, I think you're referring to Chuck Grassley's tweet, which is, you can tell he didn't write this himself. Because you know the Chuck Grassley style.
Yeah, you can tell. You can definitely tell.
All the words are spelled out in full, uses capitalization and periods. Like, this is like 2 full sentences. Chuck Grassley did not write this. But on his Twitter, it says, today's decision is another example of leftist activist prosecutors weaponizing the judicial system to carry out their political vendettas. I expect the case to be overturned on appeal.
Lots of appeals
prosecutors
coming.
Yeah, that party's
prosecutors.
Problem. He might be right about it. This will be overturned on appeal.
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, it is funny that they've been the ones who have been doing judicial warfare and making, obviously the courts are already political, but breaking the illusion that they aren't even more than ever has been 100% Republicans. And there's like another ongoing criminal trial that was delayed by a judge that Trump appointed himself. So
right.
it's like, I don't know, man.
I mean, dude clearly is guilty. Like, if you look at it's just you falsified the business documents to cover up your hush money payments and you got caught. Like, whatever. You're probably not going to go to jail for it, but you got caught. Sorry. I mean, it's just, people are like, oh, well, if he wasn't running for president, this wouldn't have happened. I'm like, correct. If he wasn't running for president, he wouldn't have had to pay hush money to the porn star that he fucked and then he cover it up. And I don't know. It's crazy to me how people view this as like, oh God, the justice system is fucked, and not like what the justice system, quote unquote, does every single day in this country to actual people.
Right. Yeah.
This is the thing that makes me not like the justice system.
It's pretty cut and dry. The case is pretty open and shut.
Yeah.
And it's like, don't know how much political wrangling there was on the jury. I mean, I guess they had a hell of a time finding people for the jury, but apparently they managed to screen out all the MAGA chuds to get the correct outcome.
I think this really exposes like how he miscalculated the 2016 election. Like, that's why he did this, right? To cover up that he had sex with the porn star. And we found out in 2017 or 18, because she blabbed at some point.
Yeah.
But if anyone had found out, if this had been like a big news story in 2016, it wouldn't have mattered. Like, basically, he was just wasting money and like committing crimes for no reason, right?
Yeah, didn't the grab him by the pussy take come after he paid off Stormy Daniels? Like,
right. Like, so this would not have tipped the election if there had been 2 of those instead of just 1.
Yeah.
You know?
This was back in the day when people thought something like that could matter to Donald Trump. Because in the past, if you got caught doing that, your campaign was over. But then Donald Trump came into the game and broke everybody's minds. And he's just incapable of doing anything wrong. And his base will not budge no matter what. So, I mean, short of Donald Trump being like coming out as non-binary or something, I think his I think his base is like, it doesn't matter what he does. So it is really funny that he committed crimes to do something that didn't matter.
Yeah. Well, I'm sure he's learned his lesson. He's not going to do that again.
Yeah.
Give him a life sentence.
Yeah, well, the other one of the other crimes that he's currently on the hook for is like treason against the United States. So, yeah.
That one's not a big deal.
Could go either way.
Yeah.
Is that the papers in the bathroom shit?
I don't know what you mean by that.
Like, he had classified documents in his bathroom and shit.
Oh, I think that there's like 2. I know there's like at least 2. I think one of them is about the documents that he supposedly destroyed or withheld from after he was out of office. And then I think the other one is for January 6th and like conspiring to try to steal the election.
Isn't there one in Georgia from trying to...
I think that's the one I'm talking about.
Yeah, that's like... There's recordings of him like telling people to find votes, right? In Georgia?
Yeah, there's some crazy conspiracy shit.
Yeah. Brenna Bird is probably the craziest person on this list of people here. Oh, I almost forgot to play this.
Give him the bird!
Gotta give him the bird!
So, Brenna, give him the bird. That's her nickname in quotes, like give him the... Brenna, give him the bird. She said, after Trump was convicted, "Today is a dark day in American history. Case in point why politics should have absolutely no place in prosecutions. The American people, not a court, should decide who the next leader of the free world will be. President at real Donald Trump deserves better." I think she's the only one who tagged him. He's not actively on Twitter anymore, so I don't know what she's doing trying to suck up like that.
I don't know, man. She definitely is the craziest one. She's one of the ones that I think leans over into the true believer category.
Oh yeah.
Of like, I think she's just so stupid and crazy that she's a true believer in like everything MAGA and everything Trump and everything. Whereas you have people like, I think Joni Ernst, Kim Reynolds, and Chuck Grassley, who are just cowards and know they can't stand up to Donald Trump, or else it's like career suicide for them. So they have to play along to this insanity, like little supine, spineless jellyfish idiots.
He's captured the whole party. So if they want to win, they all got to circle the wagons together. Yeah.
Yeah. I wonder, I don't know. If I was caught in that situation, I would just kill myself. Like, I would straight, like, it.
Who's going to be the first? And she actually went to New York, too, to, like, be there during the trial.
She's like a groupie. Trump groupie.
Yeah. I think, to Oliver's point, her being a former staffer for Steve King is another point of evidence in her being, like, really deep, ideologically committed to this stuff, like, for real. But speaking of Steve King, he has not made a statement about Trump's conviction, at least anywhere that I've seen, which I find kind of interesting because he was a big supporter of him. And he loves talking about shit, so I don't know what he's waiting on.
He's a big yapper, so it's that's a mystery.
Yeah, maybe maybe it pushed him over the edge, and he doesn't support Trump anymore. This is just a bridge too far.
Yeah,
maybe it pushed him over the edge and he killed himself.
Yeah, maybe he's true.
He hasn't made a public statement since I think Wednesday. So it's possible, Steve King, if anyone lives nearby, you may want to do a quick wellness check.
Yeah, see if there's any like flies gathering in the house or something.
Yeah.
I'm going to read Ashley Hinson's statement next. Before I do that, let's see. Her comms person, Addie Lavis, tweeted a video of Hinson at some kind of campaign event. The quote is, "I think everyone could use some amazing grace after yesterday's disgraceful events against at real Donald Trump." So at some campaign event, she busted out her violin. If you don't know, Ashley Hinson is an accomplished violinist and occasionally busts it out for a little like campaign moment. I don't know. It makes her seem more like a human to have these little musical moments.
Yeah, those old folks love the fiddle. I mean,
yeah.
A blonde woman playing the fiddle, that's aphrodisiac to them.
So while I read her tweet, I'm going to play her Amazing Grace performance here. "This is a disgrace and a total sham. This has been a political prosecution from the very beginning, orchestrated by Biden. President Trump will fight this, and we must all fight alongside him to right this wrong and re-elect him as president. The future of our country depends on it." And then there's a link to a Win Red donation page called Never Surrender in all caps.
Man, The Amazing Grace really did add a lot to that, though. I wish you could like embed that in posts, like just background music. Really adds to the feeling.
When I saw the violin shit, I thought it was like I didn't think it was real at first. Like
really
that kind of like I don't know, some aneurysm happened in my brain. It was so fucking crazy. The corniest thing I've ever seen, and that's saying a lot in Iowa politics.
Yeah. Earlier today, I hadn't actually saved that tweet, and I like went back to look for it. So I just searched "Amazing Grace" Ashley Hinson. She's done this multiple times.
Yeah, for sure.
It's like the only thing she has memorized. So it's not like she just did this only in support of Trump. She's been playing "Amazing Grace" for years at campaign stops.
Okay, that makes it both more weird and less weird.
I know. She's got to start playing like the solo from "Devil Went Down to Georgia" or something.
Oh yeah, for sure.
That'd be tight.
Do like a joint campaign event with Marjorie Taylor Greene or something and start playing that.
Mm-hmm.
Marionette Miller Meeks. That would be Oliver and I's congressional representative here in the 1st District. She said, "Radical Democrat prosecutors yet again set a dangerous precedent today after this sham trial. This was a travesty and a blatant weaponization of our judicial system. The American people see this for what it is, and they will remember in November." Ooh, a nice little rhyme there.
I just like how people can just say words and they don't have to like mean anything.
They like set a dangerous precedent.
Radical Democrat prosecutor.
Yeah.
I don't know.
The communists have taken over the judicial system of the United States.
You know, the funny thing too is that
wish.
Biden's campaign has come out and said that basically we're not even going to use this against him. Like, we're not going to call him a convicted felon. We're going to, I presume they have like other third parties who are going to be carrying that attack, but like, it's so funny to have your like opponent, like most criminally corrupt president of all time, probably, and then like not attack him for it.
Like officially, like the only president who has ever received these kinds of consequences for his actions.
Not to excuse any other presidents, but just he's the most like brazen about it, you know?
Yeah. And it's like 34 felony convictions. Like, this is a wrapped gift to the Biden campaign, and they're like,
Nah.
He just walks away from the podium and looks over his shoulder and smiles. You saw that video, right?
Yeah.
Biden just walking away from a press conference and like looking over his shoulder and smiling like a skeleton.
People were like, "Oh, that was such like a witty response." I'm like, I think he was just having a senior moment.
Yeah. Like he doesn't. Oh God!
You just see what you want to see in this election. It doesn't really matter. I mean,
I know. Yeah.
It's either he fucking completely clapped back at them, or else he's completely senile and wasn't even aware where he was.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's like he's got this one thing. Like he's been coached. You know, like if you forget or like you can't think of like what words you want to say, just use your biggest weapon. Just the Biden smile. You've got 60 years behind this beautiful Biden smile. It lets you get away with anything.
This is a travesty. Biden is weaponizing his smile against the Republican Party.
But yeah, I mean, that's how I see every time he has a moment like that. He's like, in his head, he's like, oh, if I just smile, then it's all over. I can just keep walking away. Because he's done it more than once.
Yeah, it kind of works.
Yeah. Something that I've been liking about these statements is like they're not all the same. They're saying basically the same thing, but like, you know, it would have been cool if they all said exactly the same thing at the same time. Just sort of like, oh shit, they're all like a robot army now. But yeah, clearly somebody put effort into making all of these slightly different. They're all coordinated in this effort, but it's still like they put a little bit of creativity into it. Like, yeah, Chuck Grassley, he'll call them leftist activist prosecutors. Miller Meeks will say radical Democrat prosecutors.
Mm-hmm.
This is actually the most boring of all of these. This is Randy Feenstra up in the, I think, is it still the 4th district?
Yeah,
I can never remember the numbers now, but the Northwest Iowa. Randy Feenstra, our justice system should not be used to target political opponents. The American people decide our elections. So his is like draft 1 of the... Like, what do we need to say?
Yeah, and then boring.
Take this and spice it up a little bit. And he's like, nah, I'll just... just these 2 sentences. That's it. But Zach Nunn, who is Evans' congressman, his is fun because he put it on in front of a red background with like his Top Gun campaign logo at the bottom. He said the United States shouldn't have a 2-tiered justice system. It's simple. The law must be fairly and equally applied, not used to target political opponents.
How fucking ballsy to say 2-tiered justice system and talk about fucking Trump instead of
president.
Like the actual 2-tiered justice system for people like Trump and then everyone else.
Right. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Come on, man.
He's being held to a standard that none of us could live up to.
Yeah, bro. Who hasn't fucked a porn star and then covered it up with campaign money?
Right. Well, personally, I have not. I love my wife.
Huh, that's weird.
As a veteran, these are the rights that we are guaranteed in America that I fought to protect. The American people will have the final say on Election Day. So that's what he was doing in the Air Force. He was protecting the rights of Americans to pay hush money to porn stars.
And I don't want the listeners of Rock Hard Caucus to think that giving money to porn stars is a necessarily bad thing, or fucking them.
Not. Yeah,
like
absolutely.
You can like do what you want, absolutely do what you want, you know. But I just think it's funny when terrible things happen to Trump.
Yeah.
And he's the evangelical choice for all of America, and nothing anybody says to the evangelicals that I talk to, they're just like, "Yeah, Trump's our guy," and I'm just like, all right, you people are brain dead. Like, it just doesn't make, you have no consistency whatsoever. You have no actual morals. It's just weird culture war bullshit and abortion that you really care about. And
yeah, it's the only thing.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I mean, the only moral decision for the 2024 presidential election is don't vote, right? like if you have any convictions at all, like, no. You can't involve yourself in this.
Mm-hmm. Like, there's no way.
You can write in.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Which does a lot. I'll tell you that.
This election is a very fun one for me because people have said to me personally, if you vote, you support genocide, but also if you don't vote, you know, it's like,
yeah.
It's like, damn.
wow, America is really fucking evil, huh?
It all comes back to do whatever you want, man. It's like, you don't, I mean, I think most people, I don't know about most people, but people listening to this podcast at least are pretty aware of how undemocratic the American system of government is. So it's like, what really influence do you have? Not that you shouldn't vote, but
now that
presidential
you
election, absolutely. like
when you mentioned write-ins, I remembered that I actually voted yesterday for the, for the primary that's happening on Tuesday.
Tuesday. Okay, so that's the 4th. Yeah, all right.
Yeah, June 4th. And
this is your reminder to vote in the June 4th primary.
We spent several minutes talking about how it's pointless. No one should ever vote. And then it's like, hey, by the way, we got a primary coming up. But yeah, you said write-in, and I remembered, Oliver, I wrote you in for Congress. So,
oh, hell yeah.
Yeah, you got one vote in the Democratic primary against Christina Bohannon. So if
hell yeah, what do they call the black horse in the race or something?
Dark horse, I think. Yeah,
Dark horse, yeah. I'm gonna win.
Yeah, everyone here, I'm sure you're not feeling super motivated to vote, but maybe we could all go out and write in Oliver for Congress. That would be fun.
I don't know if there's someone I'm motivated to vote for less than Bohannon.
Yeah. Well, I mean, fortunately for her, she's running unopposed in the primary, so she will be the Democratic nominee.
Not if I have anything to say about it.
Yeah,
sure.
I will never, never vote for someone who's running unopposed. They don't deserve it. They don't need it.
No way.
Not gonna happen.
Yeah. I also wrote in Amel Ali for sheriff and Bucky Stockwell for county auditor. So those are the picks, everybody.
Nice.
A couple more statements I wanted to read. Rob Sand, who is our only statewide elected Democrat, very, very important person, right? He had a statement on the Trump verdict, which you're gonna love. Evan, have you read this already?
I have, but yeah, go ahead and lay it on me.
Reveal it to you and hear your reaction. In 7 years as an assistant attorney general, I found juries in both liberal and conservative counties took the work seriously and tried to do right. Jurors deserve our thanks and respect.
That's it.
Pretty good. I would add, Donald Trump is a partisan bad guy, and he's the kind of person that I go after in my job as the Iowa State auditor.
Yeah, using his language, yeah.
But good job trying to, pander to both liberals and conservatives, not actually talk about the subject at hand whatsoever.
It's so good.
Really good job.
Yeah.
He's killing it, as always.
But this is the exact type of thing that he actually cares about, right? It's a financial crime.
Yeah, for sure.
Right. And then one last one from Zach Walls, who is my state senator, formerly in a leadership position with the Democratic Senate members, but no longer. I don't know. That was a weird thing that they never really explained. But he's been tweeting a lot recently. I believe he and his wife had a child recently, so he's been spending a lot more time on his phone.
That's the prime time to tweet. You have a kid, you got nothing else to do. Just let some tweets fly.
Well, there's a lot of hours where you have to be up with the kid and stuff, right? So I'm assuming you got kid in one arm, phone in the other. But he quote tweeted Will Stansel, everyone's favorite guy on Twitter. And Will said Trump should drop out immediately because he's a convicted felon. And it's just in general a bad move for his party. It's a big liability. So he's basically giving the Republicans advice. I don't know. Yeah. And then Zach Walls, quote tweeting that, said, "This is totally correct. For the good of the country, Donald Trump should step aside and withdraw from the presidential contest. There are plenty of other Republicans who could run and who are not convicted felons. The Republican convention isn't until mid-July."
Cool. Yeah. I'm sure they're going to take your advice,
Yeah. They're definitely going to do something to get Trump out of the race. The person that is garnering up their entire base and is basically their only chance at winning. They're definitely going to get him off.
And, I just read statements from everybody who has any sort of say from the state of Iowa. All of them, full-throated defense of Donald Trump. So I don't think that's going to happen, Zach. But what is it that they want? You know, they want like a good Republican president.
Yeah,
well, I guess they sort of see the writing on the wall. Biden's going to lose no matter what. So they want somebody less crazy than Trump to beat him. Is that what they're
yeah, they want to, yeah, like it is true that Donald Trump by far is the only one who can win the Republican, the only Republican who can win. And like Joe Biden is the only Democrat who can win. So like there's no changing courses at this point. Like,
sure. Yeah.
Also, it's just like this, like you hear it from Nancy Pelosi and other stupid as fuck Democrats when they're just like, we need a strong Republican Party in this country. We need a right wing and a left wing to fly. I'm like, no, we need the Republican Party to be small and stupid and ineffectual and irrelevant. That's what we need. And the Democratic Party for that matter.
Yeah, we need we need some kind of, violent revolution probably.
Probably. I mean, it's their say. They can either give up power or it's that option. It's up to them, really.
Yeah. Yeah, the ball's in their court.
But they're telling the truth. They want a Republican Party. They want things to run as normal with a rotating villain where, everything stays the same. The rich people keep getting richer and everybody else suffers and their class gets to exist with this illusion of choice. So they're not lying when they say that, but it is still stupid. Yeah,
it's just sort of revealing of like what their actual goal is, which is the maintenance of the status quo, which benefits them and people like them. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So that's all for national news, I think, this week. That's like the only thing that happened, right?
Slow news week.
Yeah, right. What a boring, stupid thing the election is. Let's go to something more local and honestly more important and more interesting. Vanessa Miller of the Gazette published an article a couple days ago on May 31st. The headline is, University of Iowa pro-Palestinian protester sues police for camera footage.
Wonder who that could be.
Who is she talking about? Okay, so let me just read the first couple of sentences, and then we can probably go into a bit of a less structured conversation. An Iowa City man with an accumulating history of Oh, shit.
Yeah,
she rewrote the first sentence.
I hate to tell you this, but they have unfortunately edited this article.
Well, hang on. I made sure to
records. We have
archive
receipts.
it. I made sure that the Internet Archive had the original article. So let me load that real quick. Here it is. That's so funny that they edited it after everyone made fun of them. This is what they were made fun of for, okay? An Iowa City man with an accumulating history of protest-styled political activism is suing the University of Iowa, its police, and a public records officer for a lack of what he characterized as legally required transparency around his December police encounter.
The funniest way you could have put any of that.
Yeah, for real.
Okay, so there's a lawsuit filed May 23rd, so, just over a week ago in Johnson County District Court. This is related to a December 9th arrest of a man named Oliver Weiling.
Sounds handsome. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I guess I could just give, for people who don't know that are listening, I could just give like a quick backstory about what the fuck happened and what's going on here. So on December 9th, I was sitting at home. I think I was reading the first Wheel of Time book, and I'm on book 7 now. But anyways, I think that's what I was doing.
How fast he reads science fiction books. That's maybe more fantasy, those.
That's definitely more fantasy. It kind of gets sad. Anyways.
Yeah.
And then I just see on my phone, like a live stream. It was a live stream from some campus pro-Palestinian groups that were, some people had chained themselves to the doors of Kinnick Stadium, to draw attention to and disrupt an event that was happening at Kinnick Stadium. I can't remember exactly what the event was, I don't think it was a fundraiser. I think it was an event that, the President Barbara Wilson was at.
Yeah, they describe it as a holiday party in the Gazette article.
Yeah. So I just saw that was happening. And when I was seeing the live stream footage at my house, I was like, oh, wow, I'm going to get over there because people were being arrested pretty violently. Yeah. And so I was like, I'm just going to go do what I do and what the police in the town know that I do, and which is I just go and take video and pictures and report, for lack of a better word, on protests around Iowa City. Mm-hmm. And so I go there, and by the time I get there, everybody had been arrested and everybody was gone, but I didn't know this. I thought maybe there were protesters all around the building or inside the building. So I am just driving around Kinnick Stadium. There's like one police cruiser. I park. I look on my phone, trying to find if the live stream updated or anything, or if the group's updated anything about where they're at. I can't find anything. So, and in the live streams, I saw that there were some reporters there, at least one KRUI reporter there getting video. And so I went into Kinnick, and they held the door open for me and called the elevator for me. And I went up to the second floor, and I asked somebody at the table where they gave people name tags. I was like, hey, is there a place where press is supposed to go? And they were like, oh, no, sorry, this is a private event. There's no press here. And I was like, oh, word. I thought I saw somebody that was here from KRUI, but okay. And so I left, and then I walk out, and then I go back home. And when I leave, there's 4 cruisers there, which is 3 more than there were.
Yeah. This is at the stadium. There were 3 more arrived while you were inside. Okay.
Yeah, for sure. And so I go home, and a couple hours pass, and then I see that people are gathering at the jail to provide jail support for people that may be coming out. So I went there to talk to people there and video or take pictures if anything was going on. Mm-hmm. And so I chat with people for a while, and then I had something to go to, a volunteer event to go to. So I was like, all right, I have to go. Peace out. And then as I was crossing the street to my car, 2 UIPD officers just stopped me. There's hey, can I talk to you for a second? And then without talking to me, they just grabbed me, put me up against a car, and handcuffed me. And of course, everybody there's yelling at them, why are you arresting this guy? And I'm like, yeah, why am I being arrested? And it's a very surreal feeling when you're being arrested and you literally have no idea why. Yeah. As you can imagine, it's a very jarring feeling, because I was going back through man, do I have parking tickets that I didn't pay, or just every little thing. When I was reporting on a protest weeks ago, I was in the street. Are they being you were walking in the street or doing something crazy like that? Everything's going through my head at this point.
I mean, this was only a couple weeks after everyone was catching charges for that October protest for being in the street. So
yeah, so I was curious about that too, because I was definitely there taking video. So they put me in a car. They put me in a police car and then drive me 15 feet into the jail, which I thought was kind of funny.
Right. You were already at the jail.
Yeah, but they had to put me in a police cruiser to, I don't know. I was just kind of
that is really funny. I didn't know that detail.
Yeah. And so I get in there, and then they start, they take me in, and the sheriff deputies or whatever, the people who work in the jail, they start processing me, searching me. When they originally searched me, they didn't, they did a bad job because they didn't get the pepper spray that was in my pocket.
Oh, wow.
And so I was like, hey guys, I still have pepper spray on me. Please don't hurt me for this.
Yeah.
And anyway, so they're searching me, and then I don't know, I'm just standing around. I'm sure they're about to fingerprint me, take my mugshot and shit. And I still, at this point, I have no idea why I'm being arrested still, even though a bunch of people were asking. They just said you have charges. Yeah. Oh, okay. Well, that explains it.
There is video of this, by the way.
Yeah. Then while I'm sitting in that processing room or whatever they call it, the same 2 officers, Officer Josh Lovick, and the other guy, I can't remember his name.
I think Lauren Noska. At least he's the one that's nearest to the arrest in the video that I've seen. Kind of the older guy.
Yes, he was involved, and then there was another officer involved too. But those two officers come in and they're like, "Hey, we have to let him go." And everybody's kind of like, "What?" And it's like, "We got word from the top that we have to let him go." Those are the exact words that they said. I swear to God, if I get the video footage, I'm not lying. And then, they give me my stuff back, and then they're walking me out of the jail. And Josh Lobick is like, "Fuck, shit, damn it," like just cursing. Probably a mixture of like, "Oh, I fucked up," and also like, "Damn, I really wanted to arrest Oliver because we hate him."
Yeah, right.
Because UIPD in particular, when they see me out and about at protests and stuff, they always like call me out by name. I don't know, because I never do anything besides post on the internet.com about them. Yeah. And I don't know, they're fans and they look at it all the time.
I mean, I'm sure a certain detective is listening to us right now.
Yeah, for sure. And what I'm interpreting correctly on some of the stuff I did get back when my lawyer reached out for information, Ian Mallory was, I believe, this is just my conjecture from the report. Yeah. Ian Mallory was on the cameras and saw me through the cameras in Kinnick Stadium and was the one who told people to arrest me. That's how I'm interpreting it right now, but I could be wrong. Anyways, they had hours to like think about this, right? This wasn't just like an in the moment, we're arresting you. This was like hours later.
Yeah, you're talking about the time between when you were inside of the stadium briefly and the time that they arrested you outside of the jail is hours apart.
Yes. It's hours apart, which is hilarious that they had that long to figure it out. But then they still couldn't get their shit together and still arrested me and still took me off the street, kidnapped me basically for no reason. And then as I was leaving, Officer David Blum, he started explaining to me, he's like, we're letting you go because you left when they told you to. And this is like the first time I'm hearing about why I was arrested. And so if I get that body cam footage, it will also be funny because I remember being like, today? Like I was like, because of something I did today? Like what? And he's like, yeah, but if you go back to Kinnick, you will be arrested. Like you guys know what you were there for. I'm like, I was not involved. Like you just assume I'm involved.
Yeah.
Yeah. So clearly I'm very interested in this footage and this information and the reports, because not only just for the body cam footage and everything, but people who were arrested, who were actually protesting, said some pretty funny stuff about what the police were saying while they were, apparently, while all the protesters were in custody, they started hearing the police be like, Oliver's here. He's driving around, like, send backup. Like, we need to go back. And like, why? I thought we got everybody. No, Oliver showed up. Like, oh shit, we got to go back and get him. So I'm really excited to hear like that chatter and everything. Yeah. So we definitely asked for all this information. And of course they were like, no, you can't have the body cam footage. And here's a heavily redacted couple sheets of a report. It's also really funny on the thing that they gave us in the incident description. It says Oliver walked into Kinnick Stadium uninvited and was confronted and then left when told to. And right above it on the sheet of paper, it says my charge, which is trespass/refuse to vacate.
Well, right.
So, I mean, clearly these people are just like, oh, fuck, we colossally fucked up. This is a clear civil rights violation. We're not giving you the information and hoping you forget about it. But clearly that's not the case. And we are suing them for that information, which we expect they will either just give to us or it will be a very straightforward case of a judge telling them you need to give it to us. And then we'll look at it.
Yeah. And that'll be fun.
And so then before I could even say anything about this, someone at the Gazette probably just saw the court filing of the lawsuit for this information. And probably just Googled my name.
And well, yeah, there's some background information here about a time you were arrested back in 2017.
Yes, back in 2017, I went to Donald Trump's inauguration, and I was one of 200 to celebrate. Yes. Yeah, I was kettled by the Metropolitan Police Department and kind of got the shit kicked out of me by them and tear gassed, and along with many, many other people. And 234 of us got mass arrested and all charged with felony rioting initially. And then there was a superseding indictment that charged us with, I think, 7 more felonies.
My God.
All based on some property destruction that happened at that protest, which they were just holding everybody that they caught culpable of, regardless of if they did it or not. They were saying anybody who was wearing black was acting as a getaway vehicle for people who were doing property destruction or whatever. But anyways,
so you're like aiding and abetting is what they were claiming.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. So, I mean, I fought that charge for like a year and a half, 2 years, something like that. Had to fly back to DC multiple times to go to court. And yeah, Little Village did an article about that, which the charges were all dropped because it was insane and ridiculous. They got in that case, they only got a handful of convictions. And those were people that were scared as fuck of 8 felonies and took plea deals, which is understandable. But those of us who held out definitely just got off, got completely acquitted, or the charges dropped. And then we all filed a class action lawsuit and won that lawsuit. And we all got paid out. And I think I got like $5,000 and I bought my car with it. So, insane mental suffering and torture and being in jail for 48 hours without proper food, which is all part of the lawsuit. And I get $5,000 out of it. It's a whole thing. You can read about it on google.com.
So you're saying that Vanessa Miller could have maybe read all of those details as well?
Yes. So in the article, Vanessa, I don't know if it's the same in this redacted version because people were dunking on her for misrepresenting me like this. But she basically just said she was charged with rioting in DC, which makes it seem like I was rioting in DC, which I was not. And if you look at it even a little bit, you will find that the opposite is true. And I actually won a lawsuit against DC for this. But she was clearly just trying to paint a picture of me being some crazy person who was there rioting and the police had to arrest me or else I would break windows at Kinnick or something. I don't know.
Yeah, but it's part of your accumulated history of protest-style political activism.
Mm-hmm. Really love for Vanessa Miller to map that out. Protest.
If you have the article...
Yeah, I've got it here. I've got the original version of it here.
Okay. I was wondering if, the redacted version has any more of that information about, the charges being dropped and...
Here, I believe this is the only paragraph that mentions that. Yline 30, who in 2017, you are 30, right? She got your age right?
Yes, just turned 30 in February.
All right, so she did some research there, apparently. In 2017, in the Superior Court of the District of Columbia, was among dozens charged with rioting at former President Donald Trump's January 20th inauguration. You said it was 234, is that what you said?
234 exactly. We're in the kettle.
Okay. Yeah, dozens. That's what is that? It's
technically correct.
That's 19 dozen or something. In December 2023, joined a group of pro-Palestinian protesters at Kinnick Stadium during UI President Barbara Wilson's holiday party, which was happening inside. So it's actually not even the full paragraph. It's within M dashes is the only reference to the 2017 charge. So yeah, really no context provided there about.
And I did not join any protesters. I did not see any other protesters or see any protesters. I mean, I just was there and was trying to figure out what was going on.
Yeah, Oliver was so out of the loop with this, he didn't even know it was happening till it was basically over.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I was late to the game. Not late enough. But yeah, I mean, I'm sure they got plenty dunked on twitter.com for this article for just how lazy it was and just how stupid it was. And I mean, hopefully, I've been considering emailing them and being like, can you take this fucking article down or at least edit it? Not that I actually care now that I think about it,
Yeah, well, they have edited it once already, so clearly they have received some criticism.
It's the second time they've edited an article in the past couple of months because of some Twitter backlash.
Yeah. Althea Cole has received a lot of editorial interference as
constructive criticism.
Yeah. I mean, if you write to their executive editor and with complaints, he will likely be responsive.
Maybe if I get bored, I'll do that.
Yeah. So yeah, that's the real story behind that. Is that Oliver was arrested on extremely flimsy pretense, and it may have been a major mistake by the University of Iowa Police Department that may come back to bite them. That's in process now. And
it's not the only lawsuit that is being charged against the university right now.
Yeah,
it's not. I think, did we read that last week, Evan, about the encampment lawsuit thing?
Yeah, I believe so.
I think we brought that up. Yeah. They're in a bit of hot water because they don't know what the hell they're doing when it comes to people's like civil rights on campus and just in Iowa City.
Mm-hmm. And I will say that, some people might view this as like, it was, we just fucked up. It's a little mistake. Sorry, but these things have consequences, not only to potentially them, but to people they do it to. It doesn't, as you can probably imagine, being charged with 8 felonies and facing 75 years in prison for doing nothing does a toll on your mental health. And it took me, people like to act tough and say, I don't give a fuck about what the cops do. They don't affect me. But until you're facing that serious time for nothing in a complete police repression episode, you don't know how you're going to react. And it definitely fucked me up going through that. And after all this time, because, that was a long time ago, after all this time, it really took me most of that time to get normal again, where I'm not paranoid about just randomly getting arrested for no reason. So that event being again randomly arrested for no reason definitely set back the mental health clock a little bit, and definitely made me scared to leave my house for weeks afterwards. It was hard to, and it was hard to go to places where I knew cops would be, like the courthouse, to a friend's trial, or to try to report on a trial or something. And just thinking, theyre's cops there. They're just going to randomly arrest me because they don't like me. So, being arrested is a fucked up thing to go through. And these fuckers think that they can just do it because they don't like somebody. Fuck them. They deserve to pay for it.
Yeah.
So yeah,
it should be stressed that even if they do end up, losing in a court of law over these actions, they don't really care about that in the moment. In the moment, they want to fuck up your life. And that's their whole job. It's just arresting people, bothering them, making them feel paranoid for several weeks or their whole life, maybe. Yeah.
And to the creep cops that are listening to this, they probably like the fact, they're probably like, oh hell yeah, we made him feel bad, which, they're probably going to high five about that. Ian Mallory's probably going to be like, oh yeah, we made Oliver feel bad, which is wow, good for you. You used your place of authority over people who have way less power than you do to make them feel bad for no reason. Yeah. Maybe you should rethink your life. Well, if you had the capability of rethinking your life in critical thought, you wouldn't be a police officer in the first place. So,
yeah.
Yeah. He's getting a boner at work if he's listening to this on the clock.
Or maybe he's terrified. Maybe he's like, fuck, I fucked up. And if y'all are listening, I hope you're scared. Because you should be. Fuck you.
Yeah. Okay. Well, we have taken up a full hour of everyone's time just with those 2 very important subjects. So this other stuff I'm probably going to save for later, I guess. But if you'd like to call us, if you're a person who Oliver just addressed and said, fuck you, and you would like to respond, the most efficient way to do so is to pick up the phone, call 319-849-8733. That's the Rock Hard hotline. What you say into the phone may end up on the show. So if you've got something to say to Oliver, I could pass it along through these means. You could also mail physical objects to the show at P.O. Box 5336 in Coralville, Iowa, 52241. I don't know if you have, maybe this is it. You know that the University of Iowa Police Department is withholding documents, and you know that that's wrong, and you like work for them. Maybe you could sneak those documents out of work, like sneak a Xerox copy of something out of the office. Wear rubber gloves as you do this. Make sure that there's no evidence that you were involved, and anonymously mail it to our P.O. Box. P.O. Box 5336, Coralville, Iowa, 52241.
Google reality winner and do the opposite of what she did.
Yes. And in case it wasn't clear, what I was just saying was a joke. That's not a genuine call to commit any sort of crimes.
Do it in Minecraft.
Yeah. I'm sure there's some Minecraft mod that involves some kind of like espionage, corporate espionage or something. You can set up that situation.
Yeah, for sure.
So I mentioned earlier that Oliver just got back from a tour with his band Boot Camp, and they just played a show last night. What else do you have coming up maybe in the future, Oliver?
Just for cool music in Iowa City in general, there's a fest next weekend called Pokey's Fest. Boot Camp is playing, lots of other punk bands, lots of other not punk bands are playing. Mm-hmm. Just look up Pokey's Fest, Pokeyz, like on Instagram. And you can like buy day passes or the whole weekend pass if you want. It's like 3 days of shows. So it's a lot of bands. It's going to be really cool. Definitely recommend checking it out. It's at a lot of different venues around town too. It's a whole town event. Yeah. Hope the cops don't come for no reason.
Yeah. Shout out to our friend Dolly for organizing Pokey's Fest. I believe it's 32 bands total. I was just looking at it earlier.
Yes, it's definitely a huge labor of love, so definitely shout out to Dolly.
Yeah.
Who plays in Boot Camp, and PSYOP, and Thought Wrong.
It's 32 bands, but it's around, 20 people make up all of those bands.
Yep. That's how it goes.
I'll definitely link to the fest information in the episode description here so people can find it. Boot Camp also recently released a 7-inch?
Yep, 7-inch EP.
Mm-hmm. And that's on the Pokey's Records Bandcamp. You can get a copy of that or come to the fest. I'm sure you'll sell some of those there.
Yes, you can get it in person, so no shipping costs. But if you live far away and you want to check out our EP that's about animals rising up in Iowa and burning down all the factory farms and restoring the prairie. That's what it's about.
Yeah. I'm a digital boy, so I bought a digital copy on Bandcamp. It's good stuff.
Nice.
Speaking of animals rising up and taking over, I recently guested on the Zoned Out podcast. I mentioned this last week too, but they still haven't released the episode, so I'm not sure when that'll be out. But I did. While we were doing that episode, I sort of was talking about how like the working class of Iowa and the victims of factory farming in Iowa, mostly pigs, we should be uniting together to fight back. And hopefully some pigs are listening.
Yeah, definitely.
Nice one.
I volunteer at the Iowa Farm Sanctuary, which you should check out. All the listeners, it's a place in Oxford, a little bit outside of Iowa City. It's a place where they rehabilitate and rescue farm animals, and just so they can live a happy life at this beautiful farm forever until they die. It's awesome. I volunteer there sometimes, and getting to know these pigs that live out there, they're so cool and sweet and intelligent. So I really do not like comparing them to police officers because they're just like, they're my friends, and I don't want to compare them to these fucking idiots that terrorize my town. So, I don't know.
Yeah. Are you going to have this out by tomorrow, Justin?
Yeah, I'll get it out tonight. You got a plug?
Yeah, there's a rally at City Hall tomorrow in Des Moines to you can offer public comments at the city council meeting. It's to rally for a ceasefire because Des Moines City Council still hasn't done anything on that. We've been talking about it for a couple months. For expansion of the DART program, and to ask that the government or the city government drop their contract with VIA, which I think we talked about briefly at the end of last episode.
Yeah, I mentioned that, I think, when I was interviewing Storm a few weeks ago as well. Okay. When you weren't here to say that yourself.
Yeah. So that's 5 to 7 tomorrow at City Hall, Des Moines.
Excellent. Yeah, go to that if you're in Des Moines. We talked about how voting sucks earlier. Again, I do want to remind everybody that there is a primary on June 4th. I do think that Mandy Remington is worth voting for. I'm not going to pressure anyone who doesn't feel that way about voting, but I did vote for her yesterday at the library, mostly because, one, she's my friend, and two, I really, really hate a couple of her opponents in that race.
That's a good reason, man.
Yeah. Bob Conrad is, he works for the Iowa State Patrol. We've been talking a lot about cops today, so he's a friend of them. In fact, he's received a $500 donation from University of Iowa detective Ian Mallory, whose only other political contribution ever has been to Skylar Limkeman, who was running for Iowa State House as a Republican. And his job is to sort of protect cops. He's a lawyer, and he protects cops from being held accountable for their horrifying actions on the job. So that's the company that he's keeping. Also received a donation from Travis Graves, who's an infamous local cop, really brutally arrested a black teenager at the rec center a few years ago, falsely arrested a man for driving under the influence. He was not under the influence at all, but he was held in jail for 3 months for no reason. And as a DNR employee, or a DNR officer, I guess, which he still is, by the way, he broke up a fight between a white woman and a black woman in downtown Des Moines. This is the kind of stuff that a DNR officer is supposed to do, right? Break up fights in urban areas. And again, this was a black woman and a white woman, and he elbowed the black woman in the face multiple times and pepper sprayed her, like, right in the face. And he didn't do anything like that. I mean, he shouldn't be doing that to anybody at all, right? But he did it to one of the women and not the other one, and it seems possibly racially motivated. Anyway, that's just the kind of people who are donating to State Trooper Bob Conrad's campaign for Johnson County Supervisor in the Democratic primary. I keep looking at the people who donate to him, and there's another guy who, like, Streb, I forget his first name, but he owns a construction business. He donated $1,000 to Bob Conrad, which is like, this is a primary for a county position. Like, that's a lot of money to throw at this, right? If you look up this guy Streb's other political contributions, it's across the board Republicans. Like every Iowa Republican, Kim Reynolds, Donald Trump even. So I don't know. I don't know what's going on with this Bob Conrad guy. I thought he's running as a Democrat, right? So what are all these Republican cops doing, giving him money?
What's the deal, man?
You can't win in Johnson County with an R next to your name generally, so he has to run as a Democrat.
Yeah. Interesting.
Yeah.
It's kind of like New York Democrats. They have to, they're basically Republicans, but they have to be Democrats to win. So
right, yeah, yeah. It's interesting how things morph over time as one party controls an area.
Yeah. One party gerrymanders, other party gerrymanders. Hey, also, you should probably vote for Melissa Vine. She could use the help. She liked one of our tweets.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah,
she was making fun of Zach Nunn for carrying a briefcase around in like 8th grade, which is, a good thing to make fun of him for. So we support that.
Yeah, we didn't get super into it because we kind of ran out of time. But Lanon Bakam is her primary opponent. He's the one who has the support of like anyone who matters. Like Rob Sand is backing him. The the Democratic congressional national big funding groups are backing him. It maybe is the D.
Maybe is that what it is?
I don't know. But he's got the establishment support, and I was kind of looking into his background. He was in the military. He joined the army at age 17.
Cool move, man.
Yeah, and this was like a couple years before 9/11, so he joined the army, and then it was like, oh shit, he actually gets deployed a couple of years later.
That's gotta suck, man.
Yeah. So he was in Afghanistan, working as a combat engineer, right? And the only thing I really want to point out is that part of his duties while he was deployed in Afghanistan was confiscation of drugs. So this guy's a narc.
Man, the lamest job you could possibly have in a war.
Yeah.
It's like, you smoking weed? Come here. Like, fuck you.
No, yeah. I mean, it's basically just like cutting down opium poppy fields because they're owned by the wrong person.
Yeah, they need to be owned by us.
Yeah. We're ruining the life of the local populace, but God forbid they attempt to.
They give money to the Taliban. They use that money to give money to the Taliban.
Yeah. So yeah, if you're in District 3, maybe vote for Melissa Vine. She liked a Rock Hard Caucus tweet, so that's saying something. And if you live in Johnson County, I would encourage you to vote for Mandy Remington. I didn't get into the Roy Sam Porter stuff, but if you've been following the podcast, you probably know the beef that I have with her. And, I'm not the only one. I hear
she's a very well-adjusted person.
Pretty much everyone has some level of beef with Roy Sam Porter at this point. What else do I want to plug? Last American Gay Bar has a special screening. That's a Christian Days documentary series about the Blazing Saddle Gay Bar in Des Moines. That's at Varsity Theater, June 13th. That's, I'm sure it's part of the Pride stuff. Shit, I don't know if they may even be sold out of tickets at this point, but, if that's something that interests you, check it out. Nat Baldwin, a bassist, is playing a show at Trumpet Blossom on June 25th here in Iowa City. He's a cool, improvisational music guy. Used to be a member of the band Dirty Projectors. So that, maybe that's exciting to people out there.
Maybe 10, 15 years ago.
Yeah, he's very cool. What he's doing now is very interesting to me, at least. And I'm helping put that show together, so it'd be nice to have a lot of people show up to that.
Hell yeah.
If you like this podcast and you want more of the podcast, you can pay money to get more. It's a very low barrier of entry, $1 a month. But if you go to patreon.com/rockhardcaucus, you can get bonus stuff in exchange for your money. Like the series we're working on right now called Bay Not Me Slippin', where Evan and I review Slipknot albums with various guests, including one with Oliver, where we did the demo.
The worst one we've reviewed so far.
But Oliver was a fantastic guest on that episode, even if we didn't like the music that much.
Oh yeah, it was very fun.
Speaking of music, let's end the show now with a little bit of music by me and my friend David Clare. We just released a recording of a live set that we did back in October. We were playing music while people were coming into the theater for an event with Werner Herzog, the film director. So hundreds of people who didn't know who we were, but were sort of half listening to us. So that's the context for this music you're about to hear. So you can half listen to it, pretend that you're getting excited to see Werner Herzog speak, and that'll put you in the right state of mind.
Hell yeah. Yeah, listen to it. It rocks.
Hell yeah.
Thank you. All right, that's all for Rock Hard Caucus 150. Thank you, Oliver.
Hell yeah. Always happy to be on the cock.
Yeah, thanks for keeping us going through 150 episodes.
Yeah, it's all been on Oliver's shoulders.
Yeah, it's all Oliver.
But also thank you, Evan, for always standing with the cock from day one.
Yeah, I'm a rock hard boy.
All right, see you later, everybody. Thanks for listening. Goodbye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.